passed away. Oh, there's Goose.
Right. Yeah, that was the guy that got killed. Sorry. Oh man, the hat.
Exactly.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Love the hat. There we go.
Thank you so much.
That's how you get things started.
Yes, exactly. I literally.
It's a Monday hat right there, bro. Let's
Seriously.
go.
Dude, I had 2 calls this morning, and I had to still like feed the chickens and get to the office. And by the time I got here and finished the calls, I had exactly 5 minutes to record this idea that I had to put up, because I realized that you can actually get school for completely free, like really, really fast. There's like a couple of things that we don't talk about all in the process. So I was like, oh, dude, I'm just going to shoot that really quick in the content hat. I mean, actually, I have a few content hats here. If you guys want one, I've got extras. So this is the Safari one. Jackson.
Oh, I love it.
This one.
Oh,
right?
The pith helmet. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The pith helmet. And then I have a friend that made a freaking hat, and that's right here. Holy shit.
Oh, nice.
Oh man. That's incredible.
Wow. Oh my God. Is your friend Boy George?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that looks like that.
I have a bunch of glasses. So I'm shooting the new Captivate VSL in here today and tomorrow. So I've got all of the equipment I could possibly need. I'm not even showing you all the costumes. There's so much shit. I have been working nonstop. I haven't showered in 2 days. This is abysmal. I'm all over the place. So if I seem crazy, it's because I am. You're welcome.
Understood.
So first, I want to hear, what do you guys think? How have the Odysseys been helpful? Have they been not helpful? What have they been delivering? I would love to hear some feedback about all that.
Awesomeness, endless awesomeness.
Great. Love that.
Hi, Wendy. Wow.
Very cool. Yeah, they're quite taxing, but I'm doing them at like full speed right now, so everyone can see like giant waves of all of the sections. And I'm doing my best to there's a lot of sections, so I'm going to do my best to have at least one example for each of them. But you'll probably notice in the classroom, as soon as I've done one, that classroom becomes live, and you can just sit and digest that. Whatever you want. Any feedback to the negative, something I could be doing better or cleaner or easier, so that you can understand the stuff from the Odyssey.
I've been liking it so far. I think it's really, really easy to digest. At least I think so, and it's really informative.
Beautiful. I love that. Cool.
To me, there was a few things missing that I was thinking, but I don't know. Maybe it's coming. Is the leaderboard setup? Like, I don't think you did the leaderboard setup on anyone. What phase is that when you set that up?
Oh, good question. I have that. Let me.
Because I was thinking that was in culture, but I didn't see that get set up in the video.
That's right. Yeah, I moved that one.
Oh, okay.
Initially, I thought it would be culture, but no. Let me tell you right now, because I wrote that all down. Let's see. Yeah,
I was like, I'm setting mine up, and I'm like, but what do I do with the leaderboard now?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a really good point, because you would think on its face, and it depends on who you ask, probably, but gamification is usually comes as a consequence of theme, but more of a consequence of structure. And you want to make sure it's structured more than it's fun, and it's relatively easy to make fun. So that's why I actually have it part of step 6. Because you sort of want to go through the understanding of what your client needs first, and make sure that you have a few activation points, because with a list of activation points, you can now take advantage of those in a leaderboard sort of way.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Great question though. Really good question. I mean, remember, this is, if there's anything I now know how to do, it's to check the vibes of a room, make a website, and now apparently go through like school games winter sites. Jackson knows quite well. I have been dealing with these fuckers for 8-9 months. I've seen every freaking community. A lot of them I talk to all the time. I've seen what works. I've seen what doesn't work. And so now I'm just like, with no event this month, I'm just going to vomit it all out there. This is what I've seen. These are the
Yeah, that was wild. So many different ways to think about school than I usually even see. And every bit of it.
Oh, auto DMs. That was the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't mention auto DMs.
They've been deactivated. They're no longer permitted on the platform.
Oh, really? The auto DMs when somebody signs up and it automatically sends them a welcome message. There's
Oh,
no
you mean
longer...
the initial, the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one that comes out. You didn't cover that one.
That's on the next one, so that will be onboarding.
Oh, okay. I'm getting ahead.
No,
I'm
it's okay.
like,
That's
I'm
great.
setting up, going. I'm missing some things, and I'm like, I'm not sure where they are. You know.
No. That you're exactly right. So that's part of why it's so important to follow this structure, because
Right.
you can kind
Okay.
of do these things whenever you want to, but ideally you only ever want to touch each part once. Because if you're
Gotcha.
coming back to it, that's kind of where you start kneecapping yourself, because you have too many moving variables at that time.
Right.
So as long like this actually took a long time to prepare. There are so many different ways. As the number one goal was 80-20. Make sure that you're just taking advantage of the 20% of things that make the 80% difference, and yet you're doing things that ideally you never have to revisit unless you're doing a massive pivot, which is why that's like a separate category. Yeah, I love it. Great questions, Joseph.
I'm just afraid there's some holes missing, but I know you got it. You got it covered. I'm just like, but where is it? Like,
Yeah. No, I love it, man. It's absolutely fantastic. Vincent, good to see you, man. You're still alive. I love it. Cool. Any other points? Something that is missing, something you're looking forward to, you're chomping at the bit for, any of that? Or any way I can make it easier to digest? Because it is a lot of information. Anything?
Pin post
Pin post, yep, that's going to be coming as well. That's
coming as well.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people complaining about that right now. Is the pin post and how the new welcome, is like gets stuck and it's always there, and there was just a lot of conversations about that. And somebody said, "Well, there's changes coming in school soon," so I didn't know.
Well, we ended
up pin posts.
We ended up not going with that. What he was referring to, or what this person was probably referring to, was a gem system, but we're probably not going to do that.
Okay.
As far as pin posts go, this one's pretty quick to answer, so I'll just go ahead and answer it for you. Do not. I mean, you'll hear other people that say keep it. They're stupid. Don't do it. Do not leave a start here post in your pin section. It's stupid. Okay. And everyone who's coming, who's a regular, who are the people that you actually should be caring about, they have to deal with this shit every single day. That's just like taking up a chunk. No, don't deal with it.
You're addressing exactly what I was asking.
Yeah.
You're saying don't waste your pin post with a start here.
Correct. Yeah, you should be cycling through that shit every day. It should be,
okay.
and it shouldn't just be you. It should be whatever the new content is. If you were the new content for the day, fucking great. But if people were really into it and involved and posting wins, then post them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. A lot of us are scared to share the tools, so don't be scared to share those tools. People love that stuff.
Can I ask a follow-up then, Goose?
Please.
So, a great subject, something that's definitely bothering me. So, okay, that is prime real estate. Those 3 pin posts. So you're saying take away the start here. Are we just people will find their way? What's the experience? How are we guiding people?
That's a really good point. I think what I'll do today is redraft because now that I have a good idea of what Odyssey is, I'll use Captivate Start Here as a good example of like your base ground. But you essentially want a very simple Start Here classroom. Very simple. No folders, just pages. And you get them to that place by in the auto DM that sends. Here's the thing.
Okay.
And if you don't do it that way, make sure you DM it manually, or you have some kind of welcome. You need a touch point right at the beginning. If they sign up and no one touches them, then either it's not an orgy or they're not in the right community.
Okay, so you're saying the auto DM should be it, and if people still can't find their way, then we just have stupid members.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
You should always assume that your members are stupid and therefore just like do extra, but there is more gain by having a workflow that is not the front page, and it also helps give you a very clear direction to point everybody, whether that's in DMs or in open and comments, anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then you were just responding to Joseph because I put the question up and Sarah answered it about this in school. And she said that Sam had talked about somehow building a start here flow into the platform. But you're saying that's not happening.
Oh,
This is
that
exactly what I'm talking about. Goose was what Justin, you just reminded me. It was
Gotcha.
his discussion. Yeah.
Okay, so that may be coming.
Okay.
It's on the roadmap, but not at the top. So I wouldn't count on it. As far as current flow, I mean, I've looked at this roadmap and what gets built out for the last 9 months. Shit can be on the top one day and it's inverted and shit's missing the next day. It's just until it's done, it's not done. So I would count on doing, like, with the tools that you have at your disposal, making your own start here that way. And if a new thing comes along, be like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go ahead and take advantage of it. Yeah, but you want it to be something that you are forced to either do in comments or DMs or something like that.
Okay, gotcha. That's great. Thanks.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Or an onboarding call. Sometimes on an onboarding call, if you're doing those.
Those are good. We have a lot of shy members, but they are good.
Yep. Yeah, assume everyone's shy. We're all shy at the beginning, but then once you become buddies with everybody, you start making a few connections. Oh, this person also has two dogs. Awesome. It's super easy to get in there.
Sure, gotcha. Okay, nice. That's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for speaking.
Actually, a very nice option is also, until the community is not too big, is welcome the people with names in a dedicated post that makes them visible to the people. You can give them 2-3 nudges what they should do, and they feel personally welcomed, not in a DM, but publicly. So all the other people can already respond and interact with them.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good point.
So
I have seen in some cases where being put on the spot does not work because it's not yet in person. So I have seen instances where that doesn't hit the mark. However, I still recommend giving it a shot and assuming that you're going to keep bringing people in, because as long as you keep bringing people in, there's new eyeballs on it, there's guaranteed engagement on it. You don't want welcome posts that go dry and empty, basically.
no, like literally dedicated. Once you have 2-3 new ones, just make a dedicated post for it.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
that's really a nice introduction.
Yeah, that's right. One thing that I saw recently that seemed like was working really well for a beginner community, so I'm talking about just a beginner community, if you did that and there's not like a whole lot of room for engagement, you would do the 3 people that just joined in one post. So so now even the person who was in it could comment on it because there's 2 others.
Exactly. So you wait until you have a small group, and then you start with like wrapping them around and make them like the newbies and make them obviously like a small group, so they have something in common already.
Yeah.
If they have in common that they don't know what they do here.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen more successful people with that one. Yeah, that's a really, really good point, actually.
So, and a question with the pin posts, because like, I'm coming from those structures. Is there ever a plan to have pin posts per category? That would be so handy.
That was what we were talking about when it came to this gem concept. Gems were a thing that were on the platform a while ago for anyone who was here, I don't know, circa 1 year ago. But I don't think that's not anywhere on the roadmap currently. Yeah.
Okay.
The big one that's like looming is the affiliate program. But but that one's also like
We all want
really,
that one.
Yeah, but that one's
We want that one badly.
So
it's coming tomorrow, isn't it? It was mentioned end of the year. That would be tomorrow.
Whoever said that, did Sam say that?
I don't know. I think it's been just like around, like,
okay,
it's supposed to be coming end of the year. So, and it was end of the year 2024. So
unless he's gonna surprise me with something, and he's just been on vacation for the last week and a half. No, I don't think it's coming.
I think something like that would be known.
I've been saying Q1 because I've been optimistic. So if that helps narrow it down for you, it's a massive redesign of like the guts, like this part of the school UX that probably no one has seen yet. And you can't possibly imagine. It is so robust and complicated because it's like one giant bank account that all of our money is in, and it's just an accounting spreadsheet that pulls in and out of all of that. So you have to make sure that it is done so delicately, or else just shit hits the fan. So it will likely become.
I can't imagine that nightmare, but
Yeah,
it's going to be oh so good.
that would be a toughie. Yeah. So it's going to be something along the lines, most likely, of a single dashboard that itemizes all of your inflows and outflows and your total for the month, that kind of thing. Like, and you have that sort of as a foundation. So there's a lot that'll go into it. So I'm optimistic for Q1.
Yeah, I guess there might be a lot of issues in general, because for now, maybe just for the MVP thing, they reused a lot of the personal profile for the profile of the communities, and that is my inner UX person is yelling about that.
The MVP profiles? How do you mean?
No, it's just like you see so many. So it's obvious that they reused the structure and design of the personal profile for the community profiles.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
and that is an issue itself, because it's not the same. It's just like mentally not the same, and also from the processes behind. So I can see the issues easily, like the black box UX person. So without having just like with what I see how it works, I easily can guess.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, you're on the same. I'm on the same page with you. I agree.
So hopefully they bring in a new structure that works for that and don't touch the other one.
Yeah, most likely it will be something new completely. And I think that's why it's going to take so much time. Yeah, cool. Great question, Diana. Anyone else got something related to things we want to see on Odyssey, or I guess school at large? Sweet. Okay, cool. Oh, Arda.
What I haven't seen, maybe I just oversaw it, something like the rules, because I think that is coming with culture. If you're allowed to post only on level 2, if when you're allowed to respond to things, when like those, being aware of what kind of public-private community you will have, and what you expect the people to enter. So like when I take, for instance, Ian, when you have people who are very much into Japanese, whatever, so they are likely to behave. If you have all these techie whatever, they likely will behave less.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, the rules one is also a toughie. It's very similar to what I was telling Joseph. You don't want to have the same rules necessarily as the next community, so you almost want to see what the problems in your community are first. Yeah, and that's a big one. The rules, I like the format now. It was originally like there front and center instead of admins. It was just like a test run.
No, I don't mean those rules. I mean literally, you only can post when you reach level 2 or something like that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
The technical rules for running and communicating within, not like community rules. So like
gotcha. You mean the backend thing? Yeah.
It's a setup question, and it also affects like those things like, okay, that part of the classroom only opens with that level. So that is more or less like leveling leaderboards, and I would say community dynamics.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So your question about that was
where you will put it.
Oh, in the Odyssey. So that one should be, let me see, I'll tell you right now. I think I have it written down in either the 3rd or the 4th.
Is that like a structure thing? Because I know you can funnelize your courses and stuff like that, and roadmap them and path them and all kinds of things.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is going to be this next, the beta outreach. Yep.
Yeah, and you easily can like split structure into like behavior and ways to interact, and then just like literally everything that you offer. So what is the
Yeah.
community allowed, and what are you offering when?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a little bit different between free and paid. So with the free one, which we're going through and doing currently, and after this we'll have another 2-hour session to do the onboarding section. Likely that's going to be let's see. It's either in the third one. I'll have to look at the list that I have. It's either in the third one or the fourth one. So it'll either be today or the next time that we jump on. I'll have to find that.
And I guess something like when you can post is perfect for onboarding, because otherwise you might be
Yeah.
confused.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's really important, is to go through the whole, when you can post and how you earn it. That's a big part of onboarding, because let's say you're doing a call. This is probably your best ROI for an onboarding process, is to be on a call like once a week, where you just say, hey, you need to do this, this, and this right now on the call, and you get to level 3, and now you can talk, or you get to level 2 or something like that. Yeah, that's important. Cool. Great feedback. I'll make sure that it's front and center, and I'll put, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to have the checklist put up there, because I'm showing the whole, it's like a 2-hour flow, but if you're looking for one thing in particular, I'll just have a checklist underneath it that basically says this. Would that be helpful?
Yep, that's what I was about to say.
Perfect.
We should have, I think, a checklist that we can follow, a more concise one.
Yeah, that's
Right.
Even if it's not to follow, but just like to mentally take off. Don't need this. Maybe I should care for that. I need to prepare this. So it's just like,
beautiful. I'll go
because
ahead and
I don't know how you think, Goose, but I think sometimes the demands or like the requirements for the communities might differ quite.
correct. Yes. Yeah, that's the big one to brace for. Let me see. So I'm going to make a note right now for a checklist. Yeah. Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that, Arda?
Maybe
No,
just to have it on the checklist as optional, because you remember probably that Calvin was massive on like a change log or update post. Just to put that in as a question, like if you consider something like that, if that would be a good fit for your community to have those changes or updates or announcements just in one post.
Yeah.
Change log thing, you know.
I remember that one. It was a cool idea.
I remember that. Wow.
I don't have enough data to see how it's worked though. So yeah, I can add that in there, like the change log.
You could make that also admin announcements or whatever. It's just like literally like whatever you name it. Me, for instance, I used it even as small as my communities are. So by the way, the algorithm changed. So now we changed position. So it's like, I didn't want to make that just a general post, but like I said, by the way, this is how we develop, you know? So it's like, it's more or less like about the community, but internally in the page. And depending on what kind of community you have, members might be interested.
Yeah.
Or even ask for planning about this. What do you think? But you don't mess like the whole thread with it.
Yeah. Great point. Okay.
And I probably would not make it as rigid as it was told.
Sure, I hear that. Okay. Great. It's been added.
And also one more thing. So I think also You can add timestamps to these videos, so we can navigate easily through the different sections of the build out.
Okay, great. Timestamps. I've never done that before. Is that through YouTube?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but on YouTube, you also just put in the 4-digit code, as far as I'm aware, and you just name like the main topics and when they are expected. So you just look up when are the times. So you just put in, I don't know how you would see that. Ada, is it Ada?
Yeah, it is.
I would not put for any video more than 3 to 5 sub things in it, but just like highlighting those are the main
Yeah,
points.
yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you give just like a hint, because otherwise people, when they look for something for the second time, they don't need to go through the full thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably get a easy hinting when you use some of those FASM whatever short summaries. They are always just few points, and they are very often not too bad.
Yeah. Okay, great. Cool. Yeah, great feedback, you guys. That is, I'll make sure to include those things. So today, after the call, we'll be mostly going over the onboarding beta client process. And then the rest of everything we're talking about would be the next call on the quick wins, how to make sure your activation points are there, and then to traffic and engagement. So this is like, this would be your macro engagement. Beautiful. Cool. All right. Love that. Great feedback. Holy crap. You guys are paying attention. That's right, Wendy. Okay. Any other things? Anything that you're like, I want to make sure this is in there. Goose, don't forget it.
Yeah, so in the clients like community, we have the classroom, and I see that most of the courses are private. So how do we unlock that?
So in clients, they're private because there's no content in there yet. So basically, I will put a part 1, part 4, part something like that, because the Odyssey is now. This is basically from all the feedback that we've gotten over the last, I don't know, few months. This is like the #1 way that people would like to be receiving information about how to do this kind of build out. So we're basically starting from scratch. That's why I'm like spending so many hours doing it, is we're going through and adding them one at a time. So if it's closed, it means it's not there yet. So there may be a time here soon where I will make a post about like, hey, I'm going to tomorrow or today, I want to fill out section 8 or something like that. And whoever wants to be a part of it, first one to comment gets the thing or something like that, if they need it. Right.
Gotcha.
Maybe something like that. But good question. Yeah. It's maybe I'll make a little mention of that somewhere. Has that been clear to everybody? I guess I didn't really take the time. Yeah, okay. All right, it makes sense. Cool. Yeah. Would also a change log be helpful if I put one of those things for the community? Because I'm like all over the place with updates currently. Would it be helpful to organize those, or are you just like, oh, new thing happened? Yes, Vincent says yes.
I think the nice idea was like announcing, like, I now have that section opened. Don't need to revisit all the times, because I don't know how anybody else is here, but like for me, if I see there's nothing there, my motivation to look into it for the next time will not so
Okay, great.
be there at all. So I probably would need the nudge outside of it to look into it again.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Awesome. Change log will be there. All right. Anything else about that?
And in your case, you could even, you're a visual guy, aren't you? You could even make your little roadmap. You can even have a graphic like blup, 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 where those things open.
Make sure that, yeah, and include a roadmap on there. You're right. I should.
And I think very, very high level, like this is done, that is done, especially if it's probably not fully linear, that would help.
Not fully
Because
linear.
then
Tell me
you-
more. Spherical?
Hmm?
What? How do you mean not fully linear?
Oh, if you probably have number 8 before you have number 5 and 6.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Okay, just the idea, a list almost of like this is the roadmap.
Well, I'm also visual. I literally would draw a line and would have all the bubbles, and if they are open, they get a little goosish
Yeah.
surprise.
That's right. Okay, I think there will be 2 roadmaps. There'll be a free and a paid. So does the roadmap make sense if there's 12 spots on a roadmap? Doesn't that quite?
Absolutely. And what's really nice, by the way, and also very nice for the comprehension,
Mm.
if there are things that are in parallel but different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, say like this is here, that is that. It's kind of the same thing, but like you've done this one, you could directly jump to that one, and there's more. So if you just make them synchronous,
Yeah.
but like
So
literally,
there's both on one roadmap.
however you do it, like for when you've done it, but just like if you use the same roadmap for the overview, what's in, you could see like, oh, those are kind of the same sections, but with a different focus.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
If you
that makes
just
sense.
put those 2 lines on top of each other, so not as I think you have 7 and 12. So yes, with the paid you have way more, and maybe they are not always have their pair.
Yeah.
But I think in general, interesting to see if there are things like I've done that. Could I copy that? Could I not copy that? Is it different? What is the delta? So if I'm just aware, like, oh, that step means something like similar to that, that would be a nice, just like information graphic. And kind of easy to make, you know, it's just like, you know, that is kind of the same. And you say, no, don't have that here.
Okay, that's great. That's really good.
And
Yeah,
easy.
you're right. There should be a roadmap there. So change log and roadmap. So you guys are going to fucking know what's going on. There won't be a way that you won't know what's going on. Okay. I love that. Thank you very much. Oh, this is fantastic, dudes. Look at that. We're making all kinds of progress. Okay. Anything else related to something you absolutely want to make sure does not get missed in the build outs? Or there's another way that I can be delivering the Odysseys so that is easily digestible, consumable. Okay.
I easily could imagine that you have something like this is what you do, and this is the extra goose, like the extra mile.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Extra mile. I could put that could be cute actually. Because like usually, maybe that could make it more fun. Yeah. So I might just the tip. I think we could do something like that. That is fun, where the majority of the information would be in the Odyssey walkthrough, the live thing. But then we would have also an addendum at the end, which is like, by the way, if you're looking for brownie points, there's a couple of other things. I'll call it a brownie point section. That's a great one. Everyone knows what brownie points are, right? Great. Okay.
I've never heard the term before, but I take brownies.
Really? Joseph, do you want to explain them?
I take the brownies.
Yeah, brownie points are when you were a little kid and your mom was making brownies and she would ask you to do stuff around the house, like pick up your clothes, clean the whatever. And the more you did, the bigger the brownie slice was. It was kind of an incentive to do the work. Brownie points.
I perfectly got that, and just take the brownie.
Exactly. So you're cashing in for your brownie there. Brownie points section.
I always thought the bigger the larger the points, the larger the slice. You're shooting for a big slice, so you're really working hard for those brownie points.
Awesome. So yeah, I think
brown nosing is a whole different thing.
brown nosing with your family. So I think what it will likely be then is there will be the list of odysseys, the checklist underneath that, and then underneath that, a brownie point section, which is anything that was left out that is kind of like, as you put it, extra goose stuff that isn't necessary potentially, but could give you a little bit if you're feeling like you want to do a little extra for the class.
Yeah, the confetti, you know. So
I know. Confetti. Maybe I can do that somewhere in there. I swear, I talk to Sam once a week about including confetti more on the platform, but he tells me that it takes so much processing power to have that happen that he doesn't want to do it anymore. Which is a shame because we only see it when we buy something. And when I buy something, I'm just like, oh, I get so hot. Well, maybe that's why he keeps it there. Okay. But still, I would love to have it in a lot of other places. So fabulous. Okay.
It's the dopamine that keeps it coming.
Yeah, that's it. I come to the school for the hits. Right, Micah? Okay, let's do that. Micah had a post the other day that
Dude, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm driving, but yes, it's all about the hit. You got to get that hit.
Yeah. Micah had made a comment. I was laughing so fucking hard. Devin was talking about how, because I had updated both of their profile photos or inspired hers, and and Devin was talking about how Sam wouldn't let me change the UI anymore, and then she goes, yeah, so he's doing it one by one with profile photos. He's just got to get the hit.
True.
I thought that shit was so funny. Perfect. All right, so more confetti. That I can include somewhere in there. All right. Any last thoughts pertaining to all of that? Odysseys, cool. Sweet. Last question here. As I'm going through and filling out the last few Odysseys so people can see them, what do you think would be a good process for me to do it? Is it a good idea to just be like, hey, number 8 has to be done. Who wants to get Odysseyed? And then the first person to respond gets it, or what?
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This will be exciting. First person Odysseys. Okay. Lovely. All right, cool. Well, then that was it. If that's all you guys had, then I am happy to just dive in and start answering questions. Remember the objective, and this is actually the video that I just recorded here. The number one objective on the platform is when you come on, you don't pay for any of it because, and I don't mean steal it. I mean, you're able to get in and earn as much as you pay to have the platform. And from that point on, it's just to take whatever actions you took at the beginning to scale and keep going. So we're trying to make sure that you know what to do next and that you have a group of people, the Blitz in this case, that are also holding you accountable for all of that. What's working, what's not working, and what can we solve right now on the call? We've got 20 minutes. Hit me. I'm sure there's some issues. Let's solve them. V-Man. Oh, your mic's off.
All
By the
right.
way,
Hello, everyone.
hold that thought. Did you connect with Ardo already?
Yes, kinda. I would love to hop on a meeting with him because chatting doesn't really is that
Cool.
great for a conversation. But
Yeah.
I will send you a Google Meet after this meeting.
Okay. We will.
Okay.
For sure.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. My question, hello everyone, is I saw a post in the school games community that all the school game winners have one thing in common, and that is that their offer is measurable. Like they promise to the customer something that you can measure, right? For example, losing 50 kilograms, right? Being more confident is not something that you can measure, but getting a girlfriend is, right? Now, the question is, how important is that? Is that just important if you want to win the school games? Or does your entire offer need to be like exactly measured? Or can it be a combination of, okay, you can gain this with one thing and be more happy or have fun while doing it? Like, how important is that if you just want to make a bit of money?
Great question. Has anyone else struggled with this or still struggles with this?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is really important, and I might actually.
And
clip
is saying 10x results good enough or no? Like that's not measurable, is it? Like 10x results isn't measurable.
It is measurable.
Okay.
But you want to use that as a fail safe. So you'll see it on like Captivate, for example, and it's because we cast a certain net. But in most cases, you don't want to do that. So I actually wouldn't recommend that. So I think what I'll do is I'll clip this section and repost it somewhere because it is so important. This is the #1 reason why entrepreneurs fail. It's the #1 reason. It's the thing that kills almost all of us before we get out of it. So it's a very good question. I'll revisit it. I'm going to be talking about it for the rest of ever, probably, because it's such a big problem. But I'd like to feature this solution here pretty clearly. So the way that it works is that here's me, when I am selling something, right? All that I am is, consider all that I am in this little green circle. Hopefully you guys can see it okay. This is me, and this is all I do. This is all I know. This is all I am, okay? Just no esoteric stuff, just like pretend that that's the case. Now, if I'm going to go and try and sell something to someone, there's not necessarily any reason why, if I go, hey, confidence, or hey, I'm good at this thing, I like drawing. The only problem is that that's fine when you're buddies, but when you're selling something, when money's involved, the best way, all of us, every single person, you should imagine every single person as a different person when they buy. There's just a different psychology when you're buying something. So these two people can communicate unless there's a transaction of money. If there's a transaction of money, things work differently, okay? This person, this other person that now is about to give money for the thing, they only see the world in this measurable way. But it only lasts for this little period of time, okay? And they only see it, remember I said there's the health, wealth, relationships. I mean, this is probably the best way to summarize it. You know, I would put pain in with health probably. But unless it's something that is quantifiable, yes to the girlfriend, yes to the 10K, yes to the 6-pack abs, everything else has to be packaged in there. Now, let's say I go to that same person and I'm saying, I'm selling you health, right? This doesn't change. I am still me. It is just the funnel. It is just the funnel by which you do the transaction. We're talking about this part right here. I'm still me here. You're still you here. But there's one bottleneck, and that is the offer. The offer has to be phrased in this way in order for a transaction to happen. Are these visuals helping at all? They are? Okay, cool.
Kind of.
Kind of. Okay, all right.
Kind of.
Let me think if there's a better way. I know. Let's erase this one. We'll stick with this first one here. So as soon as you sell something, the green guy disappears. You're talking to a different person. And that's okay, because this same person is all of us. It's all of us as soon as we're doing a transaction. Money just works differently. It's not natural. It's a completely separate thing. So now you're dealing with this other person. However, once they understand it in this very practical way, the reason is because this person has a problem that you're going to solve, right? But in order for you to solve it, they need to buy it. That's how businesses work. So this person right here has to be able to understand it with this separate mind, this money psychology mind, so that they now turn back into the regular person. Now, I say that long, complicated explanation because of this. Remember all the time, imagine like when you started your journey, let's pretend you're a good web designer. Imagine you started at the very beginning and you're like, I know what makes a good website. And then you fast forward 5 years from now. Are those still the things that you think make a good website? 100% no. Because doing something and learning from the process is a very different thing than imagining what it's like. I think we can all agree on that, right? Once you go through it, you learn it deeper. Okay? So this is someone at level 1. You're, say, at level 5. You need to speak the language of someone at level 1 in order for them to buy. And if you don't, if you're speaking the language of someone at level 5 and you're selling confidence, well, what you actually need is confidence. He's not buying that because he's at level 1. He will never buy that. So it always turns into you have to sell what they want and give what they need. This is the cornerstone of all of it. That's why it always has to be packaged in these things. That's why confidence doesn't sell. Because confidence is what you give. Confidence is the tool. It's not the result. You only exclusively sell results. And if it's not a result, then it's not going to be purchased at all. And you should take this as pretty much like this works. This is true 99% of the time, but you should assume it's 100% of the time. You're not going to be that 1%. Assume that this will always be the case, that you have to speak to level 1. And that's why this is so tough. So this is the last thing I'll say. The reason why all of this becomes so complicated is because we love this part of us, this little circle around us. This is all we believe, all we're good at, what we do, right? What we love. It's our family and friends, all the shit we've learned. There's a lot here. As entrepreneurs, we're like really passionate about this shit. And so all of a sudden, if I need to put this artificial thing on the outside, of course that's going to be hard. That doesn't feel natural at all. I need to have a different color so this person is interested. That feels completely defeating, right? And this is why entrepreneurs fail, is because actually this process is just understanding the language and mind of someone at a level 1. You have to speak that language. You have to have that veil, this cringy, salesy thing. It's there because it actually makes sense to this person. And then once they're in, once they get past this outer shield, nothing changed. You still offer exactly what you offer. You still help them towards that result. Nothing has changed. You just need to be able to use that extra language. Without this red layer, you'll never make any progress. Not in any significant, sustainable way.
So how about speaking in their language, but without the cringe?
Yeah, I mean,
right? Without the whole salesy spiel, because that turns me right off.
You don't have to do a salesy spiel, but you do have to have a cringy offer. You do the cringe. If it's cringy, you know what, you're on the right track. That's just how it works. If it hurts, you're doing it right. If it feels good,
turn me off.
probably doing it wrong.
That's why, like, I won't buy. If somebody's like overselling me or pushing something in DMs and stuff like that, I'm like, bah.
Oh, no, that's a totally different thing. People can be.
But I'm saying, regardless, if the language I'm using is all salesy and it sounds like some used car salesman trying to sell me a lemon, I'm not going to get into it. So how do I structure the language so it's not cringy sales speak, but it's actually talking to the person's need?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Great question. That is actually a completely different conversation from this. This one's just the theory of the offer. So there's lots of different ways you can take that. A sociopath will take advantage of this to a crazy degree, and that's why we can't have nice things. But a responsible person, someone like the people here in the group, how do you navigate this and not be a shithead? That is another conversation, right? Ideally, we're all able to navigate that, but you do have to understand that this is the point that you begin. and you can go into the dark side, you can go onto the light side, but you do start here.
And Goose, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're talking about this is the transformation that you're promising versus William speaking to the kinds of language that's being used around that.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah, I will speak to this just for a second because this is something I've been running into, as Goose knows very well. I have a guided microdosing program that I've been running for about a year. And it's gotten particularly challenging for me to enroll in that program. But what I've found is it's a lot easier for me to sell it if I pinpoint the relational challenges that people are going through and then tie it back to that. So while on the front end, I was not really promising the right things. Like it was a lot of like, have more joy and creativity and clarity and energy. And I thought like, oh, this is amazing. But that's not really what people buy. They might spend like lower amounts of money on that stuff. But in terms of like pulling out their credit card and having kind of like to swallow before handing it over, the sorts of things that people seem to buy fall under those three categories that you were talking about. I have a quick question pertaining to that because I'm coaching a burnout coach and I think she's going to have a really hard time getting clients to pay her for like a burnout program. And I'm really trying to figure out like how should we structure the messaging for this. So I'm curious if you have any ideas around things like that, like burnout and confidence and those sorts of things. Like she's particularly working with like healthcare professionals in burnout. So I'm wondering how you would kind of like navigate an offer like that.
Yeah. So
Mindset, right?
the same way that I deal with any of these, anything that is mindset related, or we'll just say fluffy. If you can't count it, if you can't count how many confidences you have, then it falls under this green category. Can you read it? Okay. Is it?
Not really, but.
Okay. All right. Well, you'll just have to trust me. It's there.
Okay.
And then your health, wealth, and relationships are here on this side. You need, if you're going to sell, it has to be in this category. Anything in the green category will never sell. So you just have to pick. It really doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, it is true that any and all of those things do help in that category. And even if you just want to teach confidence, there's a lot of things involved in that, and a lot of different strategies will be applied to different people. So it's a much more complex situation than you would normally think. Like, I teach confidence. Okay, well, sure, yeah, you do. Or in this case, burnout. I teach burnout. But burnout is usually it's a consequence of something, right? So you want to be getting to the root of it, which will usually be they're trying to be healthier, wealthier, or get better relationships. That's all we're trying to do in life, is just like get this shit down. So this is quantifiable. You can count it. You can feel it. You can go to sleep with a smile on your face because you have these things. You don't have to worry. These are means to that. So it must be one of these. Otherwise, it will never sell. But you can have a program like once they bought and you're like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to find your soulmate in 1 month or something like that, right? Great offer. You can teach all the fucking burnout stuff you want. Be like, well, you know, if you're burnt out, you're going to be a shit partner.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you're not burnt out.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah. That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. One other thing I will advise you, and this is for anybody who's coaching, this is super important. A lot of times, making the transition from here to here is fucking impossible, especially for creatives. So what you have to do is put on your big boy pants and be daddy for a bit. So you basically have to pick 4 of them. And you're like, you want to teach, what was it, burnout? You want to teach burnout? Well, now you wrap it into wealth, right? You're just going to tell them, and they're going to say, okay, let's do that, because the decision process is the hardest part for everybody. They're like, oh, I don't know which one to choose. And in most coaching programs that I've seen and taken, they're like, well, just see feels right. They're too in their head. You'll never fucking get there. By the time you get there, it's been 6 months and they've spent a bunch of money and everyone's unhappy.
Yeah.
It'd be better to just tell them what the fuck to do, and then if they have to change it later on,
Yeah.
action in the direction is always more important. So don't feel bad about slapping them a little bit and being like, this is what you're gonna do.
Yeah. I was thinking probably gear her towards relationships, but it could honestly go under wealth too.
Doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Just pick a category and then go with that. And eventually you'll decide like, oh, yeah, I like this or I don't like this.
What is her value, her highest value? Is it in relationship? Like what is she valuing the most when you pick out of those three? You know, like if she's pretty much into relationship and not so much into money, that. But normally, like if you make that for a person, find out what their value, what their highest value and intention is behind.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, thank you guys.
If it would, for instance, be family, then it could be health because she could not be there for her family otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like with regards to mindset, couldn't you wrap mindset into health because it's psychology?
You could, but you can't sell mindset.
But shifting your mindset breaks patterns, right? And frees you into either better psychological, whatever, or monetary. So that's what I'm saying. So like with specific mindset, breaking the matrix of the mind, so to speak, that's holding you back from your best self, would that be then geared towards wealth or geared towards health?
Honestly, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing where you think it matters more than it really does. When we're looking at the 80-20, making a decision on which one of these it is not even, it's not part of the 20% of things that make 80% of the difference.
Right.
Yeah. I would say just put 3 of them on a spinner on the computer, and then just wherever it lands, do it. Like if you're having a hard time choosing health, wealth, or relationships, put it on a dartboard, throw it there, and then do that for the next month, and you'll be surprised. Yeah. Really quick, Arta, Vincent has even raising hands.
Yeah, thank you. So I should put the red offer, like a thing that you can measure, right in the front, like this is what I'm selling, something for wealth, health, or relationships. But the question is, okay, how can you give me this? Should I then mention the stuff on the green side of the board, or should I try to like not lie, but tell them something differently?
The best way, honestly, that I've seen is you just say we have something called the Vincent Protocol. Okay. Takes you through this process where you change your mindset, confidence, and skill levels all at one time. Doesn't fucking matter. You're at this point just talking about a packaged thing. This is the transition part between the red and the green. If they're really that concerned about it. But most likely, the way that it works is you just briefly say the how. You don't have to get into any of the details or nitty gritty because that's just part of the journey. You're like, hey, you want to have had beta clients at this point so that you can just point at the results and be like, look, I've already done this for people. So we use the Vincent Protocol to run people through this stuff. And I mean, it deals with this, this, and this. Are you interested or not? And that's it. You want to be careful. This is more of like a sales call conversation, but you don't want to be at their beck and call for these things. You have to draw the line at some point. If they're asking that many questions in there, probably they may not be a very good client because you need someone who is desperate to solve that problem. And a person who's having a hard time is usually going to be desperate to solve that problem. And if you just present yourself clearly and well, they'll just be like, well, okay, I'm going to give this person a shot and see if they know what they're talking about because I've seen the results. It looks like it's creating results for people. Yeah, but this would be more of sales strategy.
Good.
Yeah. Arda, you were next, yeah?
No, it was by mistake.
You son of a bitch. All right, I'll get over it. All right, go ahead, Sarah.
You don't even have to put your tools and methods on your about page. If you're speaking and you've got your offer and like what it is that you're like their dream outcome, right? And that you speak to their pain points that they get to sidestep when they work with you. And you can talk about the benefit of the benefits, right? So like you have this tool, right? You don't mention the tool, you mention the dream result, the outcome of using that tool, right? Because then that prevents, because if you list a whole bunch of tools and like methods and all of that, they can get overwhelmed. It's real easy to throw jargon and like fluff in there and they don't understand what it is. But if you're just very like methodical, then they are nodding along, right? Because they feel seen. They're like, oh, this sounds like a great offer for me. The dude knows my pain points. Like, I don't have to deal with this shit that I've been dealing with trying to do it on my own. And then, these are the benefits. And then you talk about your authority or whatever, you have your reviews and whatnot. You don't even have to mention your tools and methods if you don't feel like it.
That's right. Yep, Sarah's absolutely right. You have your health, wealth, relationships offer, this whole thing that we were talking about here. Then you give your method a name. This summarizes everything that you could do. You don't have to get into any details about it. You just give it a name. And like Odyssey or Protocol or Shenanigan, whatever, it doesn't matter. And at the end, you do you. That's it. You go back, you're still doing you. Nothing changed. In fact, here, I'll put it in the correct color. You do you. So these two parts are just how you package who you are.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Does anyone have questions about this? Because I get it. This shit is tough. It took forever.
I still do. It's tough, and I get what you're saying completely. You've explained it very well. Thank you. And I get what Sarah is saying as well about masking the offer and sell the benefit of the benefit. I get all that. The difficulty that I have is still, because I was just going back to, just for everybody else context, I teach energy healing, and energy healing really is masking something else, which is spiritual development, because I've spoken to thousands of my students, and then I ask them every time they come to a course, what is it you want? And they're looking to understand themselves deeper, right? So what they're looking for is meaning and purpose, like at a very deep level. So I just went back to look at a couple of people in the school that are going through the course when I asked them the question, what do you want? And it's these subjects as well. So I get about masking the offer, and I get about, the metaphor that Sarah just used, broccoli wrapped in bacon. I mean, that describes it perfectly. And still, I'm finding this tough to relate, because as soon as you point to any of those buckets, I'm thinking, no, I mean, what people want, like at a soul level, just goes so much deeper. They're intuiting something. They're intuiting a deeper need and understanding for meaning and purpose. Or am I just complicating it?
Oops.
I'm getting Jonas onto this call because we're starting the other one. But so, okay, perfect. He's going to join it now. All right, great. I missed the last 10 seconds of what you were saying, Mr. Peach. Please repeat it one more time.
So I get everything. And then what I'm hearing from my students is, if they boil it down, what they're looking for is real meaning and purpose and peace, which is all the fluffy stuff, right? But it's the deepest level of the fluffy stuff. So I have as much as I understand everything, I still have a real difficulty to point back to one of the standard buckets. Am I missing? Am I not getting it?
Well, there are no. This totally makes sense. There are situations where you can sell These are that 1% situation. There are situations where you can sell the method, right? It's not as powerful, but it's still good. In this case, your method is Reiki. It's already been packaged. People know what that is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So your best version of that would be to combine the two, which would be something like, improve your health by using Reiki without something else, right? And that's when you start having a more focused approach. So I wouldn't get rid of this. I would just add it to what's already there.
Okay. I'm happy to be in 1% of something.
Yep. There you go. You finally made it, man.
I made it into 1% of something. Okay.
Yep. So that's the thing. If you're working on this for everyone, if you're working on something that requires like a certification or something like that, it's known. It's like yoga or it's Reiki or especially when you get into the spirituals, but also when you're in more formalized programs, that's what counts as the method name.
Okay.
Unless you're teaching Reiki, and then like if you already have an audience that just does that, then you can niche in a little bit more, but that's because you already have your established audience. So this is when you're advertising or reaching out or trying to get new faces, it has to be.
When you have to educate your audience, right? Okay, but if you don't have to educate your audience, then you can niche in. That's what you're saying. Why are you better in your niche?
Correct. That is why free communities are so powerful. Is because you don't have to re-educate them. They're already there.
Oh, okay. Then I've been trying to fix a problem I don't actually have. Then it makes sense. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
If they're there and they know they're familiar with the method, then you can just keep going.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah. Most beginners don't have that strength. That's a good foot to be on. So you're good.
Thank you. Thanks, mate.
You're very welcome. All right, beautiful. So we've got this was good. I like this. Oh, you guys can still see it right on the screen. It's all there. Any other questions that we had about this?
What if you're appealing
Beautiful.
to agencies? Is that the same type of thing? Like an agency isn't making a health-wealth relationship, are they?
Well, usually an agent.
So if agencies are your prospect, how would you do that?
That's a great question. Most of the time, most agencies I know are not trying to make any relationships, unfortunately. Right. And they usually don't really care so much about health. So it kind of just leaves one category.
Money, just focus on the money. But how would you, you're not giving them a financial incentive personally, or are you?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I think any B2B offer would be primarily financially focused, unless you're appealing. There are situations, for example, AG and Smart, if anyone knows them, they teach facilitation, and facilitation is the kind of thing that they do within a company. So in that case, they actually are
like leadership. How would you?
Yeah, that would fall under the relationships category.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
AG and Smart makes millions of dollars every year teaching relationships within companies. Can you believe that shit? But that's the offer. It works.
Yeah. And it's also about money because they say the meetings and everything will be way more effective. So
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So it still always goes to their bottom line. That's right.
Yeah. So I would say their relationship topic is more means for money. But
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they almost hit 2 in that case. Yeah, what's up, Joe? Stuff. All right, was that a question that you had?
No.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand because you had a follow-up.
No. Sorry.
that directly silenced me.
It was a neighbor waving outside. Sorry.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Patrice is calling. Okay. So how are we feeling about all that? If you have any more questions, don't ask now, hold your peace. I will only ever talk about this on every call for the rest of calls.
I've actually one question with the 1%.
Yeah.
Was like when you have a method, because I think for Reiki it might be very special, but very often if you have something like yoga, that would not be a high ticket if you just name the method. So
Correct.
You would also need to make that something special.
Yeah. I always recommend tying this in with the first one. So this is always necessary, but sometimes you can pair it with a second thing. So that's the 1% of difference, is that this is still absolute, but every now and then there's like an addendum that like, well, you could also put in this one other thing.
Yeah, it's more than a qualifier, isn't it?
Yeah. The best, like if you look at brick and mortars, the best ones are usually not just offering yoga or Reiki. They're offering to do something with that. And those are usually the classes that they're doing. Get your marriage to the next level yoga or something like that. It's because they're using this strategy. Good question. Good point. Anything else? We all good? Beautiful. I love that. So now that we have pretty much concluded with a little bit of extra the mastermind, I think what I'll do is just like cut this into 2 different pieces, and we will transition now into the Jonas, we're doing the 3rd one, right? Part 3. Boom. All right, we're going to transition into Jonas's part 3 Odyssey, which will likely be a 2-hour thing. I know I'm going to be pooped. I know you guys probably are going to be pooped. So if you need to take a minute, I'm going to grab some water. We'll have like a 2 or 3 minute intermission. And if you want to stay for the rest of it, it will be juicy. We're going to be talking. What are we talking about today? Let me take a look. Today, we are talking about clients, onboarding, beta clients, all of that jazz. So if you've ever had questions or concerns about that, this is the call to be on for, because it's very rare that we just sit and go through the thing in its entirety. So go take a poop, take a pee, do whatever you got to do. We're going to be back in 5 minutes. Sound good? Beautiful. All right. I'm going to put on some music.